Windrose is a pirate survival adventure with ship combat and base building, and since there's no macOS version, we need workarounds. I tested a bunch of alternative solutions on my M3 Max MacBook Pro, and now I'll share my findings. I'll start with the two methods that worked best, then cover some optimization suggestions, and finally go over the other valid workarounds. But before you choose which one you want, you'll have to buy the game. To help you, we'll leave links in the description to where you can purchase it, and we'll also add links to discounts when such are available. Now let's get to the ways to play it. Here are the two methods that gave us best results. The first one is called Boosteroid, and it's the cheapest cloud gaming service that's actually any good. This is the most plug-and-play solution that we found. The main draw of Boosteroid and cloud gaming in general is that your machine doesn't matter so long as you can supply it with around 40 megabits of stable internet. You can crank up everything to max even in 4K, and you should be more than fine. Boosteroid makes a lot of sense for Windrose because this game is heavier than it probably looks, and right now even strong PCs can get uneven performance. Cloud neatly sidesteps that. Since you're offloading the hardware demand to an external rig, you can just focus on sailing, building, and fighting instead of babysitting settings. In practice, my test gave me a smooth 1080p experience on a 60 megabit Wi-Fi connection. 4K also worked fine, but with a bit more image compression during lag spikes, so for 4K streams, I recommend wired internet. The main caveat here is that fast camera pans, storms, and busy combat can further expose compression or input delay, but that's usually not a big issue with a decent connection. For most people, I'd still say that this method is the safest pick. All you have to do to start gaming is follow the link in the description, register for the service, and buy a subscription. Then just search for the game and click play. It's all pretty easy, but we have a how-to tutorial if you need it, and an overview of the service if you want something more in-depth to make up your mind. Crossover is hands down the best non-cloud method to play Windows games on Mac in 2026. It will give you the ability to play anywhere you want without internet limitations, and scales better with newer Macs. But you're not going to get anywhere near the graphical fidelity or performance you'll have with cloud solutions. Crossover is viable for Windrose. It's the best local method by far, but you do need hardware power. On my M3 Max MacBook Pro with 36 gigs, at 1080p resolution and medium-high settings with render scale around 80%, I got roughly 45 to 60 frames depending on the area and scene. I'd treat an M3 Pro or better as the sensible starting point for local play, since anything weaker will require you to lower the settings too much, to the point where it's just better to go cloud. Also, there are some consistency quirks. Some users reported hangs on the Unreal logo or outright game crashes, which could require extra work. Yet, with all that said, this is still the most straightforward local solution, and the one I recommend if you don't like cloud. Also, with this method, you can use mods for single-player games, and there's a 14-day free trial. To use Crossover, click the link in the description, enter your email, and download the app. Then, after you install Crossover, you must click the Try Now option for the 14-day trial. If you need a longer tutorial, visit our video on that. Just note that the experience with Crossover can sometimes vary between updates, so don't be surprised if it suddenly starts to break the game. If this happens, check our site for the detailed instructions, or you'll have to research this on your own. Now, here are several tweaks that may clear up any crossover weirdness with this game. If Windrose keeps dying at the Unreal logo or never properly loads, the first thing I'd try is making sure D3D metal is enabled in the bottle. If it already is, toggle it off and on again, restart Crossover, and restart the Mac. That is the simplest fix people keep pointing to, and for some setups it is enough to get past boot. If the game starts but menus, inventory screens, or even closing chests feel weirdly stuttery, turn frame generation off. Regardless of which method you choose, here are some in-game tweaks that can help diminish image compression in the cloud or boost your FPS if you are playing the game locally. With Windrose, I'd leave the upscaler on quality, put shadows on medium, and bring global illumination down to medium. That usually makes the biggest difference when you're moving into new areas or returning to a cluttered base. Try to keep textures high so surfaces do not turn muddy, but if performance is still sketchy, be prepared to lower that too. The other methods are a variation of this theme. GeForce Now is the best cloud solution with all the bells and whistles, but at double the price of Boosteroid, it's just not worth it, except for a handful of games which can use the latest and greatest effects. Like Boosteroid, it's very easy to use. You just need to register, get a subscription, download its app, and start the game from it. AirGPU is the rent a gaming PC by the hour option. You buy credit, spin up a Windows machine, then stream it through Parsec or Moonlight. You pay by the hour and prices vary depending on what machine you rent, but the average is around $1. Then you also need to pay for local storage, which is $3.50 per month per 50 gigabytes with a minimum of 100 gigs. Shadow PC is the subscription version of the same idea, where the lowest monthly subscription fee is $34 for US users, and it only goes up from there. EU users get a cheaper plan option that costs €20 per month, but that's still more than twice the monthly fee for Boosteroid's base plan. Sikaru Gear is the free DIY version of Crossover. It works great when it works, but it's more inconsistent, less intuitive, and has a lengthy setup. As for the setup, you first need to install Homebrew, then Sikaru Gear itself, then Steam, and then the actual game. The process takes a bit more time compared to the other methods here, and so is beyond the scope of this video. For detailed guidance on how to set up Sikaru Gear, just click the respective video in the description and it will show you exactly what to do. Here's how I'd look at it. Boosteroid is the best value option and probably the default pick for most people. Windrose is demanding enough that offloading the work to the cloud makes a lot of sense, and Boosteroid is the easiest way to get there without much tinkering. GeForce Now is the premium cloud alternative. The upside is better tier headroom and a more polished streaming stack if you care about that, but it costs more, and Windrose is still a title where first launch can be a little less instant there. Shadow PC and AirGPU are also both decent options for Windrose, and their flexibility means you can customize the entire experience to fit your exact hardware preferences. However, the end result won't be that much different compared to Boosteroid or GFN, so only go for these two if you really care about having more cloud customization options at your disposal. Crossover is the method to choose if local play matters more than convenience. It gives you offline play and the usual mod-friendly local setup, but right now the game looks inconsistent enough that I'd only recommend it if you're comfortable troubleshooting. Sikaru Gear is the free DIY lane. It can technically do the same kind of job as Crossover, but since Windrose is already a bit shaky locally, this feels more like an experiment than a clean recommendation. So my simple take is this: choose Boosteroid if you want the safest experience, GeForce Now for the most premium cloud option, Crossover if local play is the priority, and Sikaru Gear only if you are okay with tinkering. So these were the best methods for playing this game. If you want to explore more popular gaming titles you can play on your Mac, check the videos that should now appear on your screen, or simply browse through our channel. Also, if you found this content helpful, we'd greatly appreciate it if you liked the video and subscribe to our channel. Take care and see you in the next one.